You can see how professional this is. Hi, I'm Celeste Hackett, and I am a board-certified hypnotist. My business is Family First Hypnosis, and I help a whole lot of people do, well, whatever they want to do. That's my job. And this young lady came to see me because she had some challenges, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her challenges that she had before she came in to see me. So what was going on in your life?
Sure. I grew up in a broken home, as they would say. The person that I lived with was very abusive, and verbally, physically, sexually, with other people, also that she would bring into the home. And during that time, since I was so young, when it started, I didn't realize how much it would affect me until like a few years later. I started to get into mixed martial arts, competing, and I didn't know that that's what it was, like how much my past affected me in that aspect, until my coach, my uncle, Eshkadar Brown, he realized that there was something like psychologically holding me back, and I didn't know what it was, but he had an idea that it was from the things that I'd gone through, and he introduced me to Celeste.
Hello, enter me. So what happened was you had this horrible childhood with a horrible person who used and abused you, right, in all manner of ways. And you thought you were handling it pretty well.
Yeah.
And then when it came to your sport, you found out that something was going on and you couldn't really be as good as you really are. Is that right?
Yes,
okay.
That is correct.
And your uncle, who's a coach for this kind of sport and has been a professional,
And he still competes.
still competes today, said, oh, I think there might be something more going on here that's more about psychology or the mind. And so he said, I know somebody that you could work with. And so he said, come see me. That's what you're saying.
Right.
Okay. All righty. You said that very well, but I just wanted to make sure I had it straight. Sometimes I get a little confused. Okay. So we met. Well, first of all, when he said that, and he must have said I was the hypnotist, right?
No, I didn't know, actually. I came with my aunt, Vanessa Brownton, is my uncle's wife, and she just told me that I was meeting someone named Celeste that would help me with, like, I guess, like, competing, training, just to unlock some things mentally.
They never told you I was
So
the hypnotist?
I didn't know that was coming to him. I had an idea, like, okay, maybe it's like a therapy or a psychiatrist or like something along that manner, but
Did they just
I had
forget?
no idea it was hypnotherapy.
But that's kind of unusual. Usually people will say, okay, you're going to a hypnotist, but maybe they were either busy or they didn't want to scare you or something. What do you think it was?
Both, maybe?
When you saw me, was that scary?
No, it wasn't you. I think the idea that I had of hypnotism was like the basic movie Hollywood thing, like, oh, you're getting sleepy, and then the swinging timepiece, and like when I snap my fingers, you're gonna do this and that. So I was a little leery.
Once you heard it was hypnotism?
Yeah, I was like, oh,
what am I getting myself into? Did you know on my shelf in the office where you've been many times now, there's a watch that swings?
I did not know that.
Because people want me to do that. They're like, where's
Does
the
that work?
watch? No. Okay, so swinging the watch is for eye fixation. And it's because you're supposed to watch the watch. You're supposed to look at it. And then that is really just for tiring the eyes so that you can say, thank you, honey. Here it is. So I can then say, look at the watch. Aren't your eyes tired? Why don't you close them? So then the person closes their eyes. That's the way they used to do it in the old-timey days. It was merely to tire the eyes through eye fixation, staring. And so now what we do is we do something more modern. This is
I
what
think I'd rather your...
Yeah, I just say close your eyes. That's all I did instead of that.
I did that way.
But anyway, so it's like there's no watch anymore. It's just close your eyes. That's what we did. Yeah. And so you met me, and at what point did it dawn on you that it was hypnosis? Did I tell you, or?
Yeah, the very first session, it wasn't that long, but it was more so like a rundown of like everything like what hypnotism actually is,
Oh my
not like
God.
the
I
Hollywood
had no
version.
idea, Brandon. I had no idea. I thought you knew it was
I had
hypnotism.
no idea.
And so in that first session, I start talking about we're going to hypnotize you, and this is what
Yeah.
hypnosis is, and this is what it is, and you must have been going, no, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this.
My aunt actually told me like when we got here, like because we drove separately, and then before we got to the door, because you opened the door like right before we came up, so you were expecting us already. But my aunt told me like before we came up, she was like, she was kind of giving me an idea, like the sum of what you told me in detail. She said that this was hypnotherapy, and it was to help me and assist me in like psychologically. And I was like, oh, okay.
That was good. At least
And
you had
then
a
you
little bit
came
of a
in and
head.
gave me like the
The big thing.
detailed
Okay,
explanation.
so you did know a little bit before you
A
walked
little,
in.
yeah. I had like, oh, okay, I know why I'm here.
Because that would have freaked out a lot of people. Because most people think that hypnosis is like Hollywood.
Exactly.
You know,
That's
what
like-
you see on Hollywood. And so I
Yeah.
have to help people understand that they are afraid of hypnosis because they're smart. Because if that's all you know that hypnosis is, of course you're going to be scared of it or or just be skeptical. Because God, who would believe that? It's unbelievable the way
Right.
Hollywood shows it.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad to know that you knew at least a little bit before you walked in. Okay, so then you. I'm sorry, but I'm just thinking about your mom because I know her, right? I mean, not your mom, your aunt, your aunt. And so, so you're standing out in front of the cars, and she says, "By the way," and so you're like, "Oh, I was on my way in there." And I have to think about.
Wait. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so anyway, that's just blowing my mind. I was not expecting to talk about that part of it. But anyway, so you came in and you sat down and you talked to me, and what did I seem like to you? I mean, you had to be thinking, okay, hypnosis, this lady, where's the watch? I mean, what were you?
I think because the way that you seem really friendly, and just your like persona, it made me more comfortable, even though I was still kind of like iffy because of like it's hypnotism, and I don't really want to. I don't know this person. I don't know if I should trust her, open up to her. But at the same time, like she's here to help me. I trust my uncle and my auntie, and they recommended you, so I know it's the best.
Yeah, they weren't out to hurt you in any way.
Right,
You knew
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
But you know, you had been hurt so badly before, but you trusted them. So
Yes.
that's, I don't know how they did that, except probably just by being very good to you over time. But it could have been that you not trusted anybody the rest of your life after what you went through.
It was hard to
Yeah,
trust.
yeah. That's giving me chills even thinking about it. But okay, so then we did that first hypnosis session. What did you think of that? Like you went into hypnosis that first time?
It was very interesting. I was very surprised. I was really excited. Like I went home and I told like my parents, I told my brothers, and I told my best friend, and I was like, you guys should try this. And it was not what I expected at all. Like the way that I explained it, how it felt to me, it was like that point. Most people don't really pay attention to that, but I think people who have like problems sleeping or like insomnia, which I had, they would focus more so on it. It's like that point right before you fall asleep. It's like your whole body feels like super relaxed, like mentally, physically, everything. And then like you kept telling me, like when we were going into the hypnosis, you're like relax, and then I count to this and we're gonna relax some more. And then I'm like, okay, I'm already relaxed. Then you say relax more. I'm like, oh, there's more to it.
Yeah, there is
Oh,
more to
there's
it.
more to that.
Yeah.
And then it's just, I think, and then having you speak to my subconscious, that's the part that I was like, this is amazing. Like I didn't
Even
know
in that
was
very
possible.
first session, you
The
could
first
feel like
session, and it was so short, but it was like simple and it was direct and it was to the point. And on top of that, in the beginning you had explained everything to me, so I didn't have like any questions. The questions that I did have in the beginning you answered when you explained to me, so I was like, okay, I'm ready. And then we did it, and I felt good.
Yeah.
The first session, I started feeling good.
Oh, that's so cool. And so here's what I do in the first session, okay? So with Brandy, she wanted to get better at her sport. Do you remember the other goals that you had? I think can you tell me?
It was the things that I wanted to get better in or grow in was my confidence, grow in self-esteem, just being able to express myself, being open, being free, not shutting down emotionally and mentally when I get to, or when I feel like I'm being attacked, or if I feel like I'm going to be hurt, or if I'm afraid or nervous or something, or doing something I'm uncomfortable with.
And that was where where it was showing up in your sport. You just shut down if you
I
started
would
getting
just
that
shut down,
sense.
and I didn't even.
But that was happening also with people.
Mhm.
If you thought someone was going to bully you or be mean to you, is that what you're saying?
And then like just not knowing the person, if they like come to me, I'd just be like,
shut down.
yeah,
Yeah.
not liking to talk to people, not making friends and stuff.
And now you're on video
I
talking to the world.
So
I love this job. Okay, so those were the goals. So you get into hypnosis, and I say to your subconscious, would you please collect some data, subconscious, and just, about this problem, and put it in a side folder for us to know about later. Remember that's what I said. Did I also say give her an emotional holiday?
Like
sometimes. Yeah, so, all right, and so then did you practice seventh path self-hypnosis? We usually have people practice that.
And the book that they gave me, it was also very informative. It helped me.
Oh.
Because it was almost like a review workbook, just to read over in more detail. Like if someone were like still skeptical, just listening to you, like talking, like everything is in the book.
Everything is in the book, that's right. So you can read it on your own time and kind of digest it.
Yeah.
So, because I'm doing hypnosis with my clients, but I'm teaching them self-hypnosis. Whether it's self-hypnosis that you're doing to yourself or someone else is doing it to you, a lot of it's just the same. And so this particular brand of self-hypnosis is the best ever. It's called Seventh Path Self-Hypnosis, and so I got her kind of started on that because it's just a nice thing to learn how to do, to hypnotize yourself. So you can work on anything in the future. When our work is done, she'll have this tool. She can respond. She can kind of teach herself to respond and react to things in ways that she wants to. So of course I'm here for you if you ever need me. But that's what the point of the seventh path is. Okay, and then you went on about your day, and I always tell my clients, your life is your testing ground. Let me know how well things do. Keep an eye out for whether you're better, worse, or the same. Jot some things down. Let me know when I see you next. And I did ask your subconscious, give her an emotional holiday, because we're going to fix her problem, so there's no need to keep on causing her to feel bad. Did that help at all? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't with clients.
It did, and I actually noticed like right from then, I believe it was about 3 weeks. I wrote it down like the day that I felt it was almost like a switch.
Wow.
When I like went back to just shutting down.
Okay. So you had a few weeks of feeling okay from that,
Like
and then
lighter,
you shut down.
Yeah, and I shut down.
Between the first session and the second session, how long was it before I got to see you? It was a couple of weeks then.
I think it was about a month.
Okay. Well, if it lasted 3 weeks, that was really good, because that technique usually lasts about a week, just to give people a break and get them some rest, because we got work to do when they come back in for the second session, and I know you remember that.
Yes.
That was work.
Yes,
I did. Yes. So the second session is uncovering the root cause of problems. We kind of already knew that there was, some nervousness there from what you'd been through, and we knew that it had something to do with your childhood. Was there anything about that session that surprised you, or at all?
I wouldn't say it necessarily surprised me, but I would say that I was not looking forward to it because I knew we were gonna dig pretty deep from things that I had buried for so long, and I didn't want to uncover them because I didn't want to go through that same feeling, like emotion, like experiencing it all over again. But I knew that it would help because I need to let it go, and I needed to overcome it. So
were you surprised at how far back it went?
Yes.
How far back did it go? I can't remember now. I think you were pretty little though.
That second session, I think I went back to when I was 4. The third session, that one was so amazing. That one we went back to when I was in the womb. About 6 months, I think.
Yeah. What were you feeling in the womb?
That was when the first time I had felt rejection.
See, this stuff can go deep, and this is why a lot of times therapy, which works with the conscious mind, doesn't find all this stuff, because it's in the subconscious and it's so deeply buried. And that was probably the root cause of everything. Right. Even though all that other stuff happened, that was the beginning. That was when
right.
the seed was planted.
And I'd done therapy before.
Oh.
Because I grew up in several different foster homes, and one of them that I'd gone to, they had noticed that, if I may share,
Please.
there was times where I would be sleeping, and sometimes we were friends, because it was a bunch of kids, we had a relationship. So one of my friends, we used to share a bed, and I guess she woke up like screaming and crying, and then I woke up and I was like, what's wrong, what happened? And she said that I was fighting her in my sleep.
Wow.
And I guess it'd been like, from then, that was the first time that I remembered anybody saying anything about it. And then after that, like, sometimes it would just like continue happening, like night after night, or sometimes I'd wake up like yelling, and I could never remember like what I had been dreaming about. I just know that I was like, physically I was reacting, and I was always hurting somebody, or I was like fighting, or something like that. And then I guess they spoke to my social worker, and she recommended therapy. So I started to go to a therapist. I don't remember if it was a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And I remember that, well, to me, I felt like it wasn't helping.
Sometimes it can help. I don't mean to put the therapist down.
No,
they have
yeah,
a
I
hard
understand.
job, but it depends on the therapist. And I do
Right.
get a lot of people in my office saying that the therapy and the counseling didn't help near as much as this. You know what I mean?
It really didn't. I would
Yeah.
definitely say that. I always left angry, and I always felt like the issue was never resolved. And even sometimes, I don't want to make it seem like she didn't know what she was doing, but I did feel like she was making me feel worse.
What can happen with therapy sometimes, and I had that same thing happen when I was about, must have been 18, 19 years old. I went to a therapist to help me with some feelings I was having. I was depressed, and she starts encouraging me to talk about some things that happened in my childhood that weren't good, and I didn't really want to, but she kept, encouraging me and saying I needed to. So I finally go, okay. So I start talking about it, and I start digging into some of those old feelings, and then she's like, oh my gosh, time is up. And I was just starting to feel that crap, right? And I'm like, well, now what do I do? Right,
Exactly.
and I just went out in the parking lot and cried, and I'm like, how do I put it back? You know what I mean?
Right. No resolve.
No resolve. But, okay, so we did the third session, we did the womb, we went to the womb, and we were dealing with fears and misconceptions, like I was saying stuff, tell me if I'm wrong, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just as good as anybody else, and just because they said that, they're stupid, and stuff like that, right? And you were like, okay, I think that's good, I think I'll take that on. Is that more or less the way it went? You were able to make it your own and believe that, and
that's what the thing that was helping me. You were speaking to my younger self through my subconscious, but my present self was here, and you were having me speak to my younger self, letting her know that I'm here,
and God
like
is
I'm
here.
stronger. The Most High is here, and I'm not alone. She wasn't alone, even though she felt like she was. And she
Well,
felt
when
like,
you went through it, you felt like you were, but the
Right.
second time around, we took her through it with your higher power and you,
and
so
she
and we
would
could tell her
know
everything
she
that was going to
herself.
happen and how she should think about it,
Exactly.
and then she wouldn't be negatively affected by it, and
Mhm.
that's what we did, right?
Right.
And did it help?
It did, definitely.
Okay, good.
It didn't feel good at the time because I had to go through it again, but I think being able to know that the Most High was with me, and I would come up and come out and be here where I am today.
So this
Made
is
it
the way.
better.
Oh, okay, so this is the way it is for most clients, but not all of them. So tell me if this is what happened to you. So in this session, there were some painful moments, but by the time we kept working on it, you start feeling better in the session, and then when you emerge from the session, you feel better. Is that? And then it soaks in, and you keep feeling better. Is that?
When I emerged from this session,
Mhm.
I felt like a brand new person.
Ooh, you
I
can say
felt-
that as much as you want.
I always felt better at the end of the session. So,
Somebody wants to reach you. You can just turn it off or mute it. Oh, you did that so fast. You young people are good with these electronics. Okay, let's see. So what else did I want to ask you? This is also interesting. So when did it start affecting your practice time? I know you haven't really competed yet, right? In your
I
sport?
actually have a match in like 2 weeks.
I'm so excited. How do
I
you feel
know.
about it?
I'm very excited. I'm ready.
Oh,
ready to
how would
go.
you have felt before?
Before, I always had like this nervousness before. Like I was excited to compete because I love fighting, but there was also this.
Tell them the kind of fighting you do.
I do mixed martial arts, MMA. So it's boxing, Muay Thai, grappling, jiu-jitsu, mixed together, wrestling.
I want to watch that one day. I haven't seen you do it. I haven't even seen your
I'm
uncle
gonna have
do it.
somebody record so that you can see it. And then I have the video from before, and then I wanted to show you like before and after,
Oh,
so you can see.
I'm excited.
I'm
That's
really
gonna be good.
excited.
All right, but you were practicing. I don't know if you did any sparring, but you were practicing. So did you notice you felt different after the second and third session, or were you still feeling the same, just inside?
I could tell that there was a difference because before I came to you, I was getting ready for a fight that I had, and I had about 6 weeks of training, and mentally I was not ready. And this is when my coach, Eshkadar, my uncle, this is when he really saw like there's an issue that I need
There's
to
a
handle.
block.
Right. That's exactly what he said too. He's like, there's a
There's a
mental block. There's something that's keeping you from letting go. And I was sparring almost like maybe like 2-3 times a week, like when we got closer to the event.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that I start with, it's people that I train with every day. So like
Mhm.
we know each other, we're comfortable with each other, we're always in
Mhm.
each other's faces, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we were sparring, we weren't like trying to hurt each other or anything, but we were going harder because I'm trying to get ready for my fight, so I need to have that more realistic, you know.
Something more aggressive.
Right.
Yeah.
And like for myself, I noticed that I was holding back, not necessarily like not trying to hurt them, but because I have that discipline and that practice, so I won't. But almost like I would just like ball up and just stop fighting back,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just let them like keep hitting me. Like I
Oh.
wasn't blocking, I was like keeping my hands down, and I was just taking hits.
Wow.
Like they would like go for a takedown in wrestling,
And your uncle
and-
saw that.
and he did.
Mm.
And like there was some times where he would stop the sparring session, and he was like, and he would come to me, he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know what's wrong. I feel like I'm not here, like I'm not connected,
Mm.
but I don't know what the problem is. And he was like, it's mental.
Mm.
It has to be something psychological.
Mm.
And he was like trying encouraging me. He was telling me like he knows how good I am, how good I can be,
Mhm.
and he was like, there's something blocking you, and it has to be something from your past.
Mhm.
He was like, 'cause he understands that, and
Yeah,
he's
he
seen
saw
it before.
Mhm.
So he was like, there's a mental block, you have to get past it or you won't be able to fight.
Mhm.
Like you won't be able to ever get past or get any better than what
You're
you
always
are
going
right
to
now.
just be right there.
Right, like
Yeah.
you can only get to a certain point and then just,
Wow,
that's it.
that's cool. So then you came back for the fourth session where we worked directly, full force, head on anger. Ooh, what was that like for you?
That one did surprise me because I felt like I didn't really have any anger towards, I guess, the situations and the people that I had dealt with during that time in my childhood. But I think because it had been so long of me just suppressing and just keeping everything down, I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm over it. Like I can talk about it. Like I can share like what I've been through with other people.
Mhm.
Like I won't cry or break down and just like, like shut down or anything.
Mhm.
So I felt like, oh, I'm okay.
Mhm.
But obviously it wasn't.
Mhm.
Like when certain.
Well, even to me, you looked fine, and
Yeah,
as a
that's what most
hypnotist,
people say.
right? And as a hypnotist, I know now to try to find something anyway, because usually there's something in there. But even to me, sometimes I'm like, nah, come on, they're not angry, they've forgiven everybody. But then when I prod and I look and I don't give up and I don't back down, that's my job. I have to do that. Then so many times we're both surprised, like there's some good stuff in there that needs to come out. When that comes out, it makes a big difference.
Right.
Yeah, it'll give you like a great deal of relief and patience, and it's just awesome. So most clients tell me it is. So what was it like for you whenever you finally just got all that stuff out that you initially didn't think was in there at all. And by the way, I do think that you had done a lot of forgiveness work on your own. I think it would have been a lot worse, and you probably would not have even been able to keep down what was in there. I think you would have been in a lot more trouble in life, you know what I mean? Trouble to yourself and others. But because you had put some effort into forgiving or something, you did some work on that. Did you do that? Did you try to forgive?
It
Did you go do that?
I did, but it wasn't of my own accord.
Oh.
It was my uncle and my aunt.
Oh, they're awesome.
I always consider them my father and mother figure, even though I have a mom and a dad, and I have a mom and a dad. But they've helped me like so much in my life. And my uncle, he's taught me in the past because he knows the things that I've been through. He's taught me to deal with those situations. But I think of myself, I was only able to do it to a degree. But I always wanted to like be a better person. Like even from when I was child, like, going through those things, I was always like, I'm never gonna be like her. I'm never gonna do this. Like if I have kids, I'm never gonna. You're the woman that I was. My mom. I don't consider her my mom, my biological mom. I'm never gonna treat my kids the way that she has treated me. And I would tell myself that all the time. And during that time, I always felt like I loved her so much, and I never understood why she was treating me that way. So I didn't consider myself angry at her, because I did feel like it was my fault. So I was never angry at her. I was more angry, or I turned the anger towards myself. And then I ended up, like, I guess, lashing out like towards other people, because I had a really bad temper when I was younger. I used to get in fights in school and stuff all the time, and I didn't realize it until later, but that was me like lashing out because of the things that I had,
and also like, trying to keep yourself safe.
Right.
I mean, you didn't trust anybody after what you'd been through, and you didn't want anybody hurting you. That's what I think.
Right.
Yeah. So you were like, before they hurt you, you were gonna
hurt them first.
Yes.
To protect myself. But my uncle, and especially like it's his gym, the way that I train at. He introduced it to me. Fighting, everything I know is because of him. He taught me everything. And with training, he always incorporates that fighting is like, I think he says 80 or 90% mental, and the rest is physical. Like, because when you go in the ring, it's just you against that person, but it's also you against yourself. And if you're not able to like let go and be free, then you can't succeed, and you can't fight, and you can't like, even not just in the ring, but fighting like in life. So
succeeding in life, standing up for yourself, speaking up for yourself, joining in conversations. Sometimes you got to be like social just to put yourself out there to move ahead in life.
Just being able to connect like to other people or to another person, and just different degrees it affects you in like every way. And my uncle has always been there, and someone that I can reach out to if I need help, and things that I don't know like is wrong with me. He's like, oh, try looking into this, or try doing this, and I'm like, oh, and then I can see it like how it affects me in other aspects.
He's a
like for fighting,
man.
he's very brilliant. He's amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So the anger was gone after the 4th session at others, and so you felt some relief there.
Yeah, definitely. Like physically too, it was like a weight had lifted off of my chest, off of my shoulders. I felt lighter.
Wow.
Just day to day, like speaking to people, and I didn't feel like I was an angry person before, but now
now for sure not, right?
I always felt like it was hard to get me upset because I was good at shutting my emotions off, but now it's more so because I don't feel angry.
So the difference between shutting the emotions off and not letting somebody get to you, kind of like a challenge, right? And you're just not going to get to me, as opposed to there's just nothing there because I'm just full of love,
right, and joy,
and peace.
Right.
Yeah, cool. All right, so then we did the last session. Oh, by the way, you mentioned, I just want to say this to people who are watching. So you mentioned that sometimes it was painful, the work we did. But most people don't mind a little discomfort if they know in the long run they're going to be better. And so you kept in the forefront of your mind, okay, but it's for a purpose though, right?
Right.
And I'm trusting my uncle.
Mm.
And so a lot of times people, they don't have an uncle like your uncle. They just have to like do their research and figure out, is this the right thing for me? And
Right.
sometimes I have to be the one to go, how can we help you stick with it? Because we got this goal. So I'll say, I have good Yelp reviews, right? What else can I say?
That's what, it travels better. Like, people are skeptical themselves, but when they hear, like, word of mouth,
Right.
like, oh, this person tried to help them, then maybe I
That
should
does
try.
help. That's why I wanted you here, because
Yeah.
there's so many people, even if they don't come see me,
Mhm.
there's other great hypnotists out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't even know this exists. And just to let
I
you
do
know,
recommend it.
thank you very much. The kind of hypnosis that you want to do is, or the kind of hypnotist you want to find is a 5-path hypnotist. To me, those are hands down the best, but I'm kind of partial, I guess. But anyway, all right. And yes, you can call me too if you want. But then the last thing is forgiveness of self. We worked on that. What was that one like for you?
That one did not feel good for
Mm.
me.
Dun, 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 dun.
I feel like the last 3 sessions are the hardest for me.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah, they were. I remember that.
Yeah.
They were for you.
They
Yeah.
were the hardest for me.
Yeah.
Forgiveness of self.
You have to face all the stuff you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to forgive myself, even though I feel like I wasn't deserving
Yeah.
to be forgiven.
Yeah.
That's why it was so hard for me. And so painful, because like for so long, so many years, I always blamed myself for the
It was a
things that
habit.
I'd gone through. Yeah. And it was a habit. I was just like used to, oh, this is my fault. This is my fault. This is happening because of me. Or this is happening because of what I did or what I said. And I had to come to terms and accept that it wasn't my fault, and that I'm not a bad person, and I wasn't a bad child, and I wasn't, like, there wasn't anything wrong with me. I would just
And that there was a part of you, that part that was being bad was actually a protective
protect
part.
me. Right.
Yeah. And so then when you realize, oh, because I hated you for so long, you were a mistake-making part.
Mhm.
You're just making me do all kinds of stuff I regret. But now I see you were trying to help me, but you're just misguided.
Right.
So then we had forgiveness of that part. Did you finally get the forgiveness, you think?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
did.
good. That's good. I thought you did too. I was there, but now I was just wondering since you said it was so hard.
Mhm.
But so now you've forgiven yourself. Isn't that the best?
It feels really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's just encompassing, like, myself being able to forgive. It's like self-love.
Mm-hmm.
Learning to love myself and accept myself,
Mm-hmm.
like, without, like, and not needing someone else to accept me in order for me to feel good,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what I needed. That's what I felt that I needed for so long.
I remember when I forgave myself, that was like probably the biggest thing ever. Because we're hardest on ourselves,
Right.
and yeah, it comes down to the fact that you're doing what you learned, and you were a kid when it happened. The things that you learned that you did wrong a lot of times, or you're doing them to protect yourself. And then when you look at it a different way, and you start thinking, well, wait a minute, everybody's done something. I'm not the only one. That helps too, right?
Yeah.
And when you do forgive yourself, I think that you model that for other people, that it's okay for them to forgive themselves.
Right.
Yeah, because that's probably, if you can get self-forgiveness, and you can't skip to it. You can't skip the steps. First, you have to find the root cause and understand yourself and get over fears and misconceptions about whatever's going on in your life, or whatever underlying ideas are causing your problem. You got to get over that. Then you got to get over the anger at others. And then when it comes time to forgive yourself, you think, well, if everybody else deserves forgiveness, maybe it's okay to forgive me too, right? Because they were pretty bad, and maybe I wasn't even that bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this has been fun. What else do you want everybody to know?
I would definitely
Think about somebody
recommend-
being out there just like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I've been thinking about. Like,
Yeah.
is anybody that comes to me that would need help, I would recommend hypnotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
I was skeptical at first because I had the Hollywood perception in my mind, but it's definitely not what Hollywood shows.
That's right.
Like, do your own research, I would
Do
say, first.
Listen to her.
And then if you don't believe the internet,
Don't believe me?
speak
Listen to
to
her.
a hypnotist.
Hello. Here I am.
Ask questions, call her, ask her what it's about. She's very detailed. It's very helpful. If you have any questions, all the questions that I had, she answered without any problem, any issues. Very open, very friendly, and
when it wasn't hard, it was fun, wasn't it?
yeah,
It wasn't all bad.
it wasn't all bad.
We had some fun.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was, even when it was bad, when it wasn't bad, it was painful for me, but I knew that it was always helping me, and I was always gonna be better at the end.
Yeah, finally something that worked. Right?
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
All right. Well, I guess that's about it, unless you have anything else you want to say. I think that's about it, though, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, when can we see you fighting? Is that going to be on
February
YouTube
9th.
or anything? Are you gonna do a
Not that I know of. I don't know if it's gonna be broadcast.
Well, if it is, you
But
have to let me know.
I will. I'll let
Okay,
you know.
all right. All right, well, thank you very, very much. I know that you coming from the heart like this and being willing to share these difficult things. Not everybody would be willing to do that. But you went right to the stuff,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to ask you to go there because I know that's very personal.
I think it helps, like other people being able to share. my
Definitely, you're
experiences.
smart like that. If that's the best thing is to come from the heart and just go where the pain is, where you think that where you've been in pain and show how you've overcome, and then other people who have been in similar situations will get some hope,
Or
and
worse,
that's or worse. And that's what people need. So
Mhm.
thanks so much, and I know this is going to help a
Thank you so
lot
much.
of people.
Mhm.
Can't wait to
I
see
hope
you
it does.
fight. I know you're going to win. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.